Folks, you need to put your thinking caps for this one, yeah? Because it's very easy to get lost, although I'll try my best to simplify it, because really it's very simple. There's this myth about the 50+1 that has sent Kenyans in circles, that has sent Kenyans all over the place, that has sent analysts analyzing, oh, there must be a runoff, or there'll definitely be a runoff if the election is close, and so on and so forth. Yeah? Now, I need to start with a question. Does it mean if the election is very close, yeah, the two candidates are so close to each other, does it mean definitely we're going to go for runoff? Answer that question. The answer is no. Let's take a simple example to illustrate this. Let us assume that 14 million votes are cast in total, okay? Now, let's give each candidate 7 million votes, yeah? Half, 50%. Each candidate gets 50% of the votes. 7 million candidate A and 7 million candidate B, okay? Now, all one of these candidates needs is one vote extra, and they have won, okay? That means that if we take away just one vote from candidate B, yeah, and we give it to candidate A, yeah, they will now have 7 million plus 1, okay? And the other candidate will have 6,900,000 and whatever, yeah? That is what 50 plus 1 is. 50% of the votes plus 1. So even if the election is close, it does not matter. There's no runoff. Okay? Now, the confusion which has come in, because this 50 plus 1 is new to Kenyans, the confusion which has come in amongst Kenyans is that there's been an assumption, I think, amongst some people, that this 50% means 50% of registered voters. No. It is 50% of the votes cast. Now, of course, this is highly simplified, because in an election you'll have other candidates taking part. However, in the Kenyan scenario, we know that these other candidates who come in for the presidential race will get very, very minimal votes. Okay? So this hardly affects the situation, because, and anyway, a candidate is very unlikely to win by one vote. Okay? So when you consider all this, it is very, very unlikely to have a runoff. Now, armed with this information, obviously, if you have been listening and you have seen what I've explained, the big question is, what happened in 2013? Because in 2013, all we could hear say, oh, runoff. There was no other story we were hearing in the run-up to the election. The answer is very simple. We had a very strong third candidate. Once you introduce a strong third candidate, they don't even have to be very strong, fairly strong third candidate, it changes the whole equation. Now, for example, if you introduce a candidate who will be able to garner, let's say, okay, 14 million votes, let's go back to the example, 14 million votes, you introduce a candidate who is able to garner only 500,000 votes. That changes everything, because it means that if that third candidate gets 500,000 votes, it will no longer be easy for the other two candidates to get the 50% of the votes cast plus 1. Simple. This also means that if you are running for an election and you thought that you're going to lose that election, you had a very strong candidate standing up against you, and you did your arithmetic and you saw that you're going to lose, what would you do? You'd force a runoff. And how would you force a runoff? You'd introduce a third candidate who would be able to garner only 500,000 votes, assuming that 14 million people are going to vote. Now, once you introduce that third candidate, and you make sure that third candidate will take away votes from your opponent. Yeah, you choose your third candidate very far away from your strongholds. Now, in a tribal country like Kenya, it would mean that what you'd need to do is you make sure, for example, if your strongholds was, let's just take a hypothetical example. If your stronghold was in Coast Province and Eastern, and you had the numbers there, yeah, you would just make sure that your third candidate whom you have introduced, whom you finance and you do everything, comes from very far away, western, northern, southern, as far as possible from where you are. It's as simple as that. Now, after this revelation, I'm sure those who are following, you have very many questions. You have 1 million questions. Well, all those questions I answer in my analysis of what is bound to happen in this election. And believe you me, it is quite sensitive, yeah? Now, we know, or rather we have a lot of information already, so we're able to predict various scenarios, yeah? We also know what happened in 2013. We're able, and therefore when we gather all that information together, it's very easy to predict what's going to happen forward. We can answer questions like, who is the most likely winner? How many votes will they win by, etc., etc. Yeah? Think tanks do that all the time. What are think tanks? I answer all this in a video I've done, yeah, which predicts what's going to happen. Not predicts, puts the various scenarios that will unfold in the forthcoming elections, and it answers why these scenarios are very accurate, and it's what is bound to happen, almost definitely. Okay. Now, all you need to do is click on the link you see on the top left-hand corner of your screen right now. It will take you directly to that video. Just watch it, and most of your questions will be answered. Okay? Most of your questions will be answered. Yeah, so this is Chris Kumekucha. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side. Just click on that link. It will take you directly there. Thank you for your time. See you on the other side.